I hear the phrase digital age a lot. People talk about living in the digital age. And I think that to some extent it is a big problem that we are actually in a digital age. And in that sense that we've lost the analogue mind. You know, there's no variables. It's not like a sliding scale anymore. It's 100% for or 100% against. You know, if you're not with the right wing, you must be a left wing. If you're not left wing, you must be right wing. You know, if you don't condemn it, you must condone it. And there's no middle ground. There's no sliding scale, and it is digital states. You know, it's either switched on or it's switched off. And there's just no reality of that kind of analogue mind. But it's just kind of strange the way people construe things and join things together. For instance, if you accept something, then you must approve of it. Now, if you don't condemn it, you must condone it. But as an example, if your child comes to you and says, you know, I'm a heroin addict, for the last 6 months I've been using heroin. How are you going to help your child if you don't accept that that is the situation they're in? You know, how can you not accept it and help them? But if you accept it, do you then approve of it? Of course you don't. You don't approve of it at all. But unless you can accept it, you're not going to help them. How are you going to help them? By condemning them? You're not, but just because you're not condemning them, are you condoning them? No, of course you're not. You don't have to stand against them, you don't have to stand for them. Not in a state that's 100% either way anyway. And it's just that sort of stupidity. It's these digital states, you know, there is no sliding scale in between. That's why people get stuck in the blame game, you know. They have to blame the other person so that they don't end up being to blame. And people have lost their skills of resolution. There is no solution. It is just conflict. It's sort of how it has to be. And it is almost impossible to be an honest, genuine person now. Because if you're honest and genuine about your own failings, then you're lining yourself up to be the person who gets blamed. There's no sort of respect for someone being straight up and decent. You're just going to get shit on. That's a fact. And people just take politeness for weakness. They think that all you are going to be is polite. They think you're stuck at polite. They think that the constructs of your life and the way you have lived to end up being at a point of politeness means you are weak, you are soft, because they don't associate that with someone living a certain way. But you see, the life I did have at street level, that life I did have surrounded by the underworld, living in that world, by being polite, when someone messes up, you're all the more justified in taking action against them. So it sort of pays in your favour. That's one of the problems I have, is taking my constructs that I've learnt from the life I've had into a legitimate situation. Because I can show you no to the fullest degree if you want, but it's better off discussing and working out and me telling you no. And then you're stuck in those difficult situations, and the only way that I really understand for operating and functioning is politeness. It's not because I have to be, I don't see the point in necessarily being rude. Why start off being rude? Why approach someone being rude? Why expect to get anywhere by being rude? What are you really achieving? Unless you're afraid of yourself to such an extent that you want to keep everyone away. You're that insecure in yourself and what you really are, but you don't want anyone to get to know you. So then you just go around being rude, but it's not my fault. Your life is your life. But that's the problem people have with me, is that I seem to be too secure within myself. I know that, so I say that. You know, if I think it, I know it, I say it. If I can prove it, I say it. I'll say it and prove it. Whereas everyone else doubts themselves. They doubt their own thoughts. They doubt their own constructs. They need someone to cross-reference it with. They need to be convinced that it's right. See, I know I'm right. I've just got a whole world telling me I'm wrong. Well, not the whole world. That's an extreme way to put it. Everyone that I have ongoing interactions with, who should be there for me, support me and understand me to some extent, they're all telling me that I'm wrong. The people I have one-off interactions with seem to tell me I'm right. People who haven't got a whole list of things that other people have said to them to hold against me, people who haven't got a life history of records of other people's negative labels, then yeah, those people who come to me with a genuinely open mind, those people who've got a blank page who say, write your story, they seem to understand me very well. They tell me how much sense I've made. They reflect back upon me how I've helped them to understand things. So then, if someone with a genuine empty space can understand me, then the reason why other people can't understand me is because they haven't got an empty space. They're at their conclusions, and if you're not 100% for their conclusion, then you must be 100% against their conclusion. And then that's where the argument begins. Because their position is a false position. It's just a position they have assumed. All they recognise other than that position is the complete opposite position. But that is just an assumption. So what they've got is two assumed positions in their head, and they throw rubbish from one position to another position, believing that that's having some sort of effect on me. It isn't. They're having a conflict between their own assumptions inside their own head, and then I'm meant to think that I'm crazy? No, not at all. You know, it's like you look at the sort of extreme left-wing political movements. If you don't stand 100% for them, then you must be a fascist, racist, Nazi, bigot, you're a homophobe, transphobe, all these labels they can throw at you, because you're not 100% in their position. And that's all they can understand, is the complete opposite to where they are. And that's what they've got battling inside their own head. That's the two representations that they understand. So you're not 100% for them, you must be 100% against them. And that is digital states. But the more that people are opposed by that kind of a mentality, well then, the more it becomes the case that their only representation is on the right. You know, there's no room for you on the left, because you don't say what we want, when we want, cause we want, in the way we want you to say it, but we stand behind a banner of free speech. So, what is that banner of free speech? Free speech for everyone? Or is it actually limited speech for a limited number of people who say what we want, when we want, exactly as we want, because it's what we all think and we must all think the same? Sounds like fascism to me. But then you can't trust the slogans that people stand behind. Like the medical centres under my local authority, they all print all these posters, all their letters. At the bottom it says, we care, we respect, we are inclusive. But they're none of those things. They're just slogans. You know, it's something that they can put out there to make themselves look good. And even still, if someone is in a position that is 100% against you and opposed to you, as long as they don't mean you any harm, they have no ill intent towards you, then what is the problem with them existing in that position? How does it harm you? How does it weaken your position in any way? Why do you need to remove them for existing? You know, how does it actually weaken your position that there's an opposing view? Surely if you can articulate to an extent that you can prove that opposing view wrong, then having someone in that position makes you more right. It seems stupid to want it removed. Why remove it? Why does it have to be removed? Why does it have to be a conflict? Why does it have to lead to battles? Why does it have to lead to war? And it's just this strange way that we seem to have lost reality. We no longer judge an act based on logic and reality. We judge the actor based on our feelings towards them. So, for instance, like a war, both sides do the same terrible things to each other. But you see, the Germans in the Second World War, terrible, nasty, evil, vile scumbags. They're the spawn of the devil because they flew over a foreign country, they dropped bombs, they flattened a city, and they killed innocent civilians. But our boys, heroes beyond heroes, because they flew over foreign countries, dropped bombs, flattened cities, and killed innocent civilians. You see, you're not judging the act. You're not looking at the reality of the act. You're judging the actor based on your feelings, which is no way to really deal with reality. We have become detached from reality. You know, we have the feeling first, and then we put the feeling in place, and then once the feeling's in place, our logic is corrupted. No one can understand someone just functioning on logic and reality. No matter how much I lay it out, it goes straight past people. Now, they can't grasp the reality of what I'm putting there. It's beyond them because they have to have a feeling about it. And but my feelings, but my feelings, but my feelings. Yeah, well, get your nappy changed, get your dummy in, and shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? What am I meant to do about your but feelings? I don't give a fuck about your fragile emotions. I cannot exist as a representation of your fragile emotions. I am not here for your satisfaction. What do you want? What do you need? What do you require? What is it that's going to help people to overcome themselves? You know, I've had to overcome myself in so many ways, and all I have is the absolute reality of facts. And if you can disprove them and prove that it's not a fact, and you can prove that it isn't reality, and you can prove that I make no logical sense, then do so. Prove me wrong. The more you prove I'm wrong, the nearer I get to being right. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone, but if you was to come up with all the potentials of an outcome, say there were 10 there, and you test and you find out that that one is wrong, well then there's only 9 potentials, and that one's wrong, now there's 8 potentials, that one's wrong. Every time you come to a wrong conclusion, you get nearer to the right answer. You think, imagine Stephen Hawking had some big formula written up on a whiteboard somewhere, and someone come in and said, you see that 2, that's meant to be a 3. If you change that 2 to a 3, it all makes sense. Do you think he's going to sit there crying about being wrong, or is he going to say, thank you for making me right? Because that's what you've done. When you show someone that they're wrong, you make them right. My whole life of being told what's wrong, why it's wrong, how I'm wrong, how this action's wrong, how that behaviour's wrong, what I've done is wrong, the fact I exist is wrong, the fact I spoke was wrong, the fact I coughed was wrong, the fact I looked down was wrong, the fact I said something back was wrong, the fact I cried was wrong, the fact I ran away was wrong. Constantly telling me what's wrong. And all I've got is all that in my head. Well, then I've got plenty to analyse to work out what really is wrong, what really is right. Why can't other people take that time to think and just work things out? Surely your life and your interactions, your experiences are there somewhere. If it's gone through your eyes, your ears, it's passed through your sensory perception, then it exists somewhere within you. It's like watching a quiz. You're not walking around thinking about the capital of Peru being Lima. That isn't just sitting there all the time, but if someone asks you what's the capital of Peru, you say Lima. You know, like, it's there somewhere, it's passed through your sensory perception, it is available to you, it is within you. Your every today is little more than an accumulation of all your yesterdays. And there's that reality that people just can't grasp. It's this constant need for conflict, need for opposition. If you are not 100% for, then you must be 100% against. Well, the only thing I'm 100% for is logic and reality. The only thing I'm 100% against is fiction. Doesn't mean you haven't got a right to exist as fiction in fiction. You have, but I'll let you do that as long as you don't deny my reality. Because my reality is reality itself. However hard it is for you to grasp that, understand that, or comprehend that, it is what it is. I've got no need to lie. If I tell a lie now, you can catch me out on it another time. Well, that'd be me getting shown up. Why show myself up? I'll tell the truth and stand by the truth and always be able to repeat the truth. I'll always be able to give you the same answer every time. Why is that so hard for other people? Because you want to run away from yourselves. That's why. You give the truth, you've got to stand by the truth, you can be held to the truth. You don't want to stand by it. You don't want to be held to it. You want to be able to run away. So you make up some fictional assumed position, knowing it's a fictional assumed position, and the only opposite position to that is a fictional assumed position. And then you battle them two things out in your head, and you throw shit backwards and forwards between two bits of bullshit, and it just ends up being complete rubbish and complete fantasy, and you throw that out like it's got something to do with me. And then you wonder why I get frustrated. It's because I have to see you as a failure. It's because all you'll exist as is a failure. It is impossible now for me to respect you. But if you're an office manager, you're a depot manager, you're a company manager, or you're someone who's meant to have some level of importance, it makes it a bit difficult for us to interact and for me to respect your role or the importance and ego and kudos you expect. That ain't going to be there because you've shown that you don't deserve it. Why should I respect that? Because underneath it, you're just a person. And if you're behaving like such an idiot, you're a failure of a person. Don't ever expect me to respect you as a given. Show me respect, I'll show it back. Now you do wrong by me, I'll reflect that back on you. You do right by me, I'll reflect that back on you. To some extent I'm humble.